What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. Over the years, we have seen the destruction of our franchises, certainly the lore and the infiltration therein on multiple fronts. From Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, even The Matrix, all had, and Dungeons and Dragons currently, all have had their lore just absolutely ruined, I tell you. And now with Amazon and Henry Cavill getting his series, it's more important than ever that they stick to the lore that was popular the entire time and not the one done to court the modern audience, which brings us to the plan that we're getting to, if possible, save Warhammer from Games Workshop. Because every time you do a video about Warhammer, you have people going, 3D printers go burr. It's cheaper and easier for them to just 3D print their own models rather than go with Games Workshop, who treats their customers like shit, has very poor relations with brick and mortar stores. In fact, we did a video a couple weeks ago about brick and mortar stores cutting ties with Games Workshop for that very reason. And then also the continued attempts to infiltrate it with modern DEI wokeology is worrisome. And this all started when Custodes, which is a male-only order that to protect the emperor from the noble sons on Earth, was turned into they had females, which breaks lore, and it was pointed out. They doubled down and gaslit everyone, as you do, and we're like, no. There's always been female custodians. That, of course, prompted everyone to whip out their sacred text and their lore books and show that no. It was always phrased as men, the children of nobility, always in the male vernacular. And people like Grums and others pointing out that no, this ain't right. This is just the first attack in a larger infiltration. And now we've got his plan. So a modest plan to preserve the purity of Warhammer 40K. Remember, this is the same AAA game moratorium that we're doing, unless specifically notated that it has none of that modern ideology like a Black Myth Wukong or a Stellar Blade or a Space Marine 2. That Warhammer Space Marine 2, great game. The only lore and ideology was the original one, and no one complained, and it sold really well, and we're getting more. And Saber and Matthew Karch over there, they know what they're doing. So they say, I know many 40K fans are disheartened and angered by the gaslighting female Custodes debacle, and now there is more and more pressure to make 40K female Space Marines, and Emperor knows what else. Now, Henry Cavill, of course, whose Custodes is his army that he uses in the miniature version of the game. One of the big reasons we believe they wanted female Space Marines was to put it in the Amazon show. And they're like, no. Games Workshop said, no, we can't make that work. They really will. Everyone will riot if we do that. But maybe we can swing female Custodes. We've seen how that has reacted. So Games Workshop continuing to entertain the destruction of their lore, the game, and their game to satisfy the mythical, non-existent, modern audience while spurning and even disparaging their core tabletop audience. The same thing that Star Wars did to their fans. They tried to court that mythical modern audience that doesn't spend money, it doesn't care beyond the transitory, oh, that was a great movie, okay, and they go forget about it. They alienated all the hardcore fans that buy lore books and miniatures and so on and so forth. As said here, who buys thousands of dollars worth of minis, codexes, and supplements by calling them all sorts of nasty names, alt-right, bigot, sexist, homophobic, trans, all the things, all the phobics, all the ists. I also know that you love the hobby, and many are loath to abandon it or are unable to resist the plastic crack to do anything like a full boycott. I'm there with you, but I have a technique. You don't have to. Oh, let's see. For over a year, we've run a successful campaign in video games to push back against the mind virus, running our hobbies. And we did talk about that. We did it by voting with our wallets and being very vocal. Now, giant companies like Ubisoft are on the edge of folding, and medium and small publishers are embracing gamer feedback and sentiment. You can do this too, and you don't need to swear off 40K to do it. You just need the mantra of underperform expectations. So he says Games Workshop is a public company. They are very sensitive to their stock and stock price and investor sentiment. They are also expected to deliver results quarter after quarter, year after year. If a single quarter shows a decline, it's a big headache for them. Games Workshop will issue stock guidance, which is their prediction of sales on how well they do based on sales predictions. If they fail to meet their guidance, the stock market punishes them heavily. This is why you don't need to absolute boycott to win. You just need to show that they've underperformed. This is exactly what happened with Star Wars Outlaws and Dragon Age: The Veilguard. They sold. We'll talk about the game director for Dragon Age: The Veilguard going over to work for Dungeons and Dragons here in a little bit, but they sold over 1 million copies, but they missed internal targets for a public company underperforming. Even while selling well, it's enough to cause emergency panic with shareholders. Yeah, this is also why Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed, because they knew they were not going to hit it. So here we go. And just to finish out this plan here, he says, all you need is 20%. Get them to underperform sales by 20%, and you have immense voice in what they do and say and make over time. Even 10 to 15% is a lot of pressure. Get organized and get loud. Find places like X that let you say what you really feel about the changes to 40K and post them here. Hi, so here, find YouTubers that will cover it. I'll cover it. This is what we did in video games, and it works. Yeah, it's been working pretty well. How do you do this? Proxy 20% of your army. Use Legos and other minis or whatever instead of buying new units, or 3D printers go burr. Proxy 20% of your intended Guild War purchases instead. I personally use 3D resin printers, there you go, which are excellent. I have full threads on 3D printing if you do. Hold off on new purchases. Every quarter, Games Workshop will release new exciting things that everyone will want to field on the table. I'm not saying don't field them, proxy them. So replicate them with other means and or 3D printing. Be very vocal about what you're doing on social media. That goes to, you should be having X accounts. And if you are not a YouTuber, you need to find a YouTuber that's covering this and amplify their voice, i.e. share this video on social medias or with your friends and all that. And say, look, they're talking about the thing that we only talk about in our basements or closets or garages, wherever the hell we're still playing all this. Got a website together to recommend when to buy and when to proxy and when to hold off. This is similar to, yeah, you need a DEI detected showing which units are compromised. Either way, this works. It has definitely worked. We're seeing huge turnaround in video games. And my God, Dungeons and Dragons might need to be doing something extremely similar to this, especially with what we're hearing of who the new game director is for their upcoming Exodus game. Anyway, you let me know what you all think about this. Either way, make sure to like, share, and sub. Are you worried about Henry Cavill's Amazon? Do you think this will affect that? Or are you already 3D printers go burr and this is not news to you? Either way, let me know what you think. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And,
well, bye.